Hi everybody! Today we're going to be doing another grammar topic. Today we're talking about können, which is another one of those modal auxiliaries that we've been working on over the last several weeks. First thing we want to do with any of these modal auxiliaries is learn how to conjugate it. So we're going to start off with the conjugation as we have with the other worksheets. The ich form is ich kann. The du form is du kannst. Er, sie, es kann. Wir können. Ihr könnt. Sie können. And as you could probably surmise from the conjugation here, we also use this in English with can, as in I can fly, I can sing, I can dance, I can do all of these things, I can do anything you can do better. Sorry, got a little carried away there. Anyway, so you can use this with can as you can in English. Be careful with this one, however, because you have the same type of problems that you have in English. In English, people mix up can and may all the time. Most of the time, it really doesn't make any difference, and people in English know what you mean. But in German, sometimes it can be a little bit confusing if you mean can and you say may, and if you mean may and you say can, it's just kind of fuzzy. So make sure that you mean can whenever you actually are able to do something, and make sure that you mean may when you want to ask for permission. Down here in section 2, we have fill in the blank with the form of können. Basically, we just have to figure out which form of the conjugated verb that we need in the blank for each one. First blank here has a du after it, which means that du is the subject because, well, du is always the subject. So we have to use the du form, which is kannst. We just take the stem form kann and add an st to it. Kannst du ohne Flugzeug fliegen? Can you fly without an airplane? In other words, are you Superman? Are you a bird? Are you a plane? No, I'm Herr Antrim. Number 2. Something ihr mir etwas über Neverland erzählen. So here we want to have the ihr form because ihr is directly after the blank, which means that that's our subject. And so we use here könnt. Könnt ihr mir etwas über Nimmerland erzählen? Can you tell me something about Neverland? In other words, the thing from Peter Pan. Die verlorenen Jungs, something nie erwachsen. This one says, the lost boys, something never grow up. In this one we want can never grow up, but since Jungs is plural, we have to use here können for the sie form, the they form. Die verlorenen Jungs können nie erwachsen. The lost boys can never grow up. Nummer 4. Ich, something, nicht mehr fliegen. Ich is in the sentence, which means that it has to be the subject because ich is always the subject, no exceptions to that rule for any reason. So here we have ich kann nicht mehr fliegen. I can no longer fly. Apparently we lost our fairy dust, or our happy thought, or whatever it is that you use in order to be able to fly, depending on which version of Peter Pan you're looking at. Nummer 5. Peter Pan, something, ohne Feenstaub nicht fliegen. In this one we have Peter Pan as our subject because ohne Feenstaub is without pixie dust, which is a prepositional phrase, so it can't be our subject. So Peter Pan, being an er, sie, es kind of guy, we're going to use here kann. Peter Pan kann ohne Feenstaub nicht fliegen. Peter Pan cannot fly without fairy dust, or pixie dust. Nummer 6. Peter Pan und ich, something, mit Schwertern kämpfen. Here we want to say Peter Pan and I, which means that we have to have here the plural form for the wir form, which would be können. Peter Pan and I can fight with swords. Peter Pan und ich können mit Schwertern kämpfen. In section 3, we're supposed to take each of these sentences and incorporate the verb können into the sentence. So in the example we have ich fliege, I am flying. But we want to change it to use können, so it says ich kann fliegen, I can fly. Nummer 7, it says, der Lehrer beantwortet die Frage nicht. The teacher is not answering the question. If we want to say the teacher cannot answer the question, we want to change beantworten back into its infinitive form and push it to the end of the sentence. Then we have to conjugate können to go with der Lehrer, and so we would say kann and put that where the verb used to be. So we end up with the sentence, der Lehrer kann die Frage nicht beantworten. The teacher cannot answer the question. Nummer 8. Die Männer des Königs und die Pferde des Königs retten Humpty Dumpty nicht. All the king's men and all the king's horses are not rescuing Humpty Dumpty. Now we want to use the actual line from the fairy tale, and that would be, all the king's men and all the king's horses couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again. But we want to use the present tense, so we have to say, can't put Humpty Dumpty together again. So in this version, all we have to do is take out retten, shove it to the end of the sentence as the infinitive, which also happens to be retten, and then conjugate können, which in this case happens to also be können, and put that where retten used to be. Die Männer des Königs und die Pferde des Königs können Humpty Dumpty nicht retten. All the king's men and all the king's horses can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Or, all the king's men and all the king's horses can't rescue Humpty Dumpty. Number 9. Du hast meinen Bleistift. Seems like a very accusatory kind of sentence, but it says, you have my pencil. If you want to say, you can have my pencil, then you would say, du kannst meinen Bleistift haben. Normally I would probably use dürfen in this sentence, but, you know, if you really want to be like that, you can use can in this sentence. Number 10. Ess dir nicht so laut. Are you not eating so loud? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you put the form of können in there. If you're saying it like, are you not eating so loud? Like, you're sarcastically asking somebody the question of like, are you not eating as loud as I think you are? Because you appear to be eating really loudly. But most of the time that's not going to make any sense. We're going to ask somebody, could you please, instead. So we're going to say here, könnt ihr nicht so laut essen? Could you not eat so loud? Number 11. Ich warte nicht. I am not waiting. If we want to say, I can't wait, you would say, ich kann nicht warten. Put kann in the place where we had the ich form of warten, and then put warten back in the infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Ich kann nicht warten. I can't wait. In Nummer 12, we have meine Schwester und ich essen einen ganzen Kuchen. My sister and I are eating an entire cake. If we want to say my sister and I can eat an entire cake, we take essen as the infinitive form, which happens to be the form that it's already in, and we push that to the end of the sentence. Then we conjugate können, which in this case is können because it's the wir form, and we put that where essen used to be. Meine Schwester und ich können einen ganzen Kuchen essen. One of the things you have to be careful with können is that sometimes it could be used in the subjunctive mood, which is something that we don't get to for a long time in my classes, and I don't think that I've actually done a video on this as of yet. Subjunctive mood is kind of like a hypothetical, like I could fly if I had wings. That's a hypothetical as opposed to I can fly or something like that. Okay, so it gets kind of fuzzy in there whenever you're trying to use können. Basically, if you're saying something that is factual, you can't do this, you can do that, somebody else can do that, you're going to be using können in the ways that we've used it here. If you're talking about a hypothetical, it's probably going to end up using something that is a form of können that is more than likely going to be a subjunctive thing, which is, let's just leave it as saying it's complicated. So, anyway, I just wanted to warn you, be careful with können. Most of the time, however, you're probably going to say things that are not subjunctive. So, I can't do this, I can do that. Those type of sentences. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and like it down below. And if you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Bye now.